Hello and welcome to our channel. Today, in this video, we are going to mention 7 upcoming strategy games releasing this year that you might find interesting. Let's dig right into it. Starting with Manor Lords. Manor Lords is an upcoming strategy game that allows you to experience the life of a medieval lord. It is developed by Slavic Magic and published by Hooded Horse, and is expected to release sometime in 2023 on Windows. The exact date is not confirmed. In it, you grow your starting village into a bustling city, manage resources and production chains, and expand your lands through conquest. The game is inspired by the art and architecture of late 14th century Franconia, and prioritizes historical accuracy wherever possible, using it to inform gameplay mechanics and visuals alike. Common medieval tropes are avoided in favor of historical accuracy, in order to make the world feel more authentic, colorful, and believable. Manor Lords provides a gridless city-building experience, with full freedom of placement and rotation. Building mechanics are motivated by the growth of real medieval towns and villages, where major trade routes and the landscape influenced how settlements shaped and developed. There is a detailed production chain feature, where you will process raw materials into finished goods. You will be required to balance the basic needs of your people against the desire to produce luxury items to ensure happiness. Your management skills will be tested against proper resource allocations and decisions that you will need to prioritize. You start with a small parcel of land in a vast territory, and the competing ambitions between you and neighboring lords will inevitably lead to conflict. You lead your people into battle, but not as expendable units to be easily replenished, but as your beloved loyal subjects, where every death is a cost worth considering. Next on the list is Company of Heroes 3. Company of Heroes 3 is an upcoming real-time strategy game, developed by Relic Entertainment and published by Sega for Microsoft Windows. It is a sequel to Company of Heroes 2. The game features new mechanics and modes, and is set in the Italian and North African theaters of World War II. The game was originally set to be released on November 17, 2022, but it was delayed to February 23, 2023. It is set to release for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S sometime in 2023. In Company of Heroes 3, the players take the role of Allied forces during their invasion of Italy and Axis forces in the North African campaign. The game has features new to the series, such as the tactical pause system, which allows the player to pause a battle and queue up commands to be executed after the game is resumed. Company of Heroes 3 also has an improved destruction system that gives the title more granular destruction, such as individual tiles and bricks crumbling off buildings. The story is dynamic, and the player's interactions with the game's various commanders can affect the narrative's ending. Moving on to Terra Nil. Terra Nil is an upcoming strategy game, developed by Free Lives and published by Devolver Digital for Windows. In Terra Nil, players are tasked with turning a barren wasteland into an ecological paradise with a variety of flora and fauna. This is achieved by placing a number of buildings on the landscape, which allow you to terraform. Wind turbines provide power, but can only be placed on stone tiles. These are used to power toxin scrubbers, which prepare the soil for irrigation. Water pumps are used to refill dried riverbeds, while additional tools allow the player to create new rivers and new stone tiles anywhere on the map. For each tile, which is converted from wasteland into lush ecosystem, the player is rewarded with points, which can be spent on further buildings and upgrades. In the second stage of the game, players can upgrade existing buildings to create biomes such as wetlands, wildflower meadows, and dense forests, and restoring these biomes will cause herds of deer, flocks of birds, schools of fish, and lone wandering bears to populate the map. The unique selling point of the game comes in the third phase, where once a sufficient amount of the ecosystem and weather has been restored, the player is tasked with recycling the buildings they have placed, in order to create an airship on which they will leave the map, thus leaving no trace of their presence, but just a rewilded paradise. Next we got Homeworld 3. Homeworld 3 is an upcoming real-time strategy game, being developed by Blackbird Interactive and published by Gearbox Software. The game is scheduled to be released in the first half of 2023 on Windows. According to the developers, the game boasts an extensive campaign mode, giving solo gameplay an important role. In Homeworld 3, players get strategic freedom in combat, where they will be able to use the crumbling remains of an ancient civilization to funnel foes into a brilliant ambush, or hide your fleet from powerful enemies. One of new major gameplay features is the megaliths and the trench, which are huge space structures that will add coverage strategies for small aircraft. The game has cooperative multiplayer mode, which extends your game beyond the campaign by fusing Homeworld's real-time strategy gameplay with roguelike structure, where one or two commanders take on a randomized series of fleet combat challenges, and players are required to manage their fleet's strength across each battle, and claim powerful rewards with each victory. Moving on to Falling Frontier. Falling Frontier is a sci-fi real-time strategy game, developed by Stutter Fox Studios and published by Hooded Horse. In Falling Frontier, ship design, recon, and logistics are critical elements. In it, your expeditionary force has just completed construction of its first spaceport in orbit of a new world, but you are not alone. Rivals from the old colonial wars between Earth, Titan, Venus, and the other lineages that divide humankind have also arrived in the same star system. You will be able to explore a vast procedurally generated star system, filled with planets, moons, asteroid fields, and nebulae. You will build and upgrade shipyards, supply depots, refineries, and recon stations as you research new technologies to unlock ship hulls, weapons, orbital facilities, colonization options. Battles in Falling Frontier combine intuitive control with deep mechanics. Shots can strike unintended targets after missing or ricocheting off hulls, and each ship has subsystems that can be damaged or destroyed upon impact. Smaller, more maneuverable craft can defeat much larger vessels through ambush or tactical superiority. Wars are won or lost through logistics. A weaker opponent can choose to engage in guerrilla warfare, raiding supply depots and refineries, blockading colonies, and otherwise attacking each point in the enemy supply chain. Likewise, a stronger force cannot simply combine their ships into a single massive and unstoppable fleet, and must instead strategically distribute smaller defense flotillas throughout their territory. You will be required to use probes, scout ships, and recon stations to explore and monitor the vast emptiness between planets. Recon stations scan defined angles with either passive scans that grant limited information, or active scans that give away their position. Similarly, the enemy will continuously search for your forces, and you may hide your ships behind moons, or mask their heat signatures near gas giants. Falling Frontier incorporates over 20 different ship types, including frigates, destroyers, cruisers, and battlecruisers, alongside an array of civilian ships. You may create your own designs, and choose weapons, utility modules, and other components to best serve your strategic needs. Your command crews are not abstract and impersonal entities, but rather named individuals with ranks, portraits, and identities. Each officer has their own traits and abilities, making personnel choice a critical factor in efficient flotilla composition. Enemy officers not killed in action can be captured and interrogated, or left in their escape pods as bait, in order to ambush any rescue ships. Next we got Builders of Egypt. Builders of Egypt is an upcoming economic type of city building game, taking place in the Valley of the Nile in ancient Egypt. The story will start in a little-known proto-dynastic period, in which the player will be able to observe the birth of Egyptian civilization, and the game will finish with the fall of the Ptolemaic kingdom and Cleopatra's death. The most important aspect is the skillful management of urban planning, by shaping the grid of streets, placing buildings and their mutual relation. Well-designed city will greatly improve economic efficiency, which may convert into city income. The governor will face very difficult choices to be made in a constantly changing political environment. Costly expeditions, pharaoh and other cities' requests, military threat, and a mixture of different cultures will be a commonplace. A series of wrong choices can cost the loss of trading partners and cause low interest in the city by settlers. Moreover, the total lack of obedience to the rulers may end up with a civil war. Deity will be able to interfere with daily life, but it will be done implicitly. The main aspect of religion will be satisfying the need for access to the places of worship, providing supplies for temples or organizing festivals, whereas neglecting this sphere may result in a dangerous social unrest on a par with, example, famine. Trade is the most important element in royal treasury. Without it, it is very difficult for economic stability, built solely on taxes. Therefore, in the interest of the player, producing goods for export at prices that will be able to change dynamically, depending on the geopolitical situation, will be required. What would the real ancient Egypt be without its monumental sacred architecture? There are mastabas, obelisks, Karnak among others, the Ramesseum and of course the pyramids, that are waiting to be built. You will be able to observe the slow process of construction. A team of carpenters, masons, architects and ordinary workers will rise building step by step. It will not be just a graphic feature. The building process is costly and will have an impact on the finances or the public mood. Egypt's history is full of clashes of emerging and failing empires. You will have the responsibility of defending cities from foreign military attacks, making plans to attack and joining your forces on Pharaoh's own call. And finally for today's video we got Infinity Siege. Infinity Siege is an action strategy game developed by Team Ranger and published by Lightning Games. It is set to release sometime in Q3, 2023. In this game, the player will explore the world, gather resources, merge and upgrade outpost units to build their own outposts, and will be required to fully exploit the value of the unique protoslag gun, with different protoslag attributes, and utilize ammunition with diverse performance. There will be abundant difficulty levels, diverse gameplay features, and distinctive maps of the exploration mode, where the player would venture deep into the brand new zones, full of hazards and opportunities, and harvest powerful outpost units. Infinity Siege will also have a co-op feature, where the players will be able to fight alongside friends on harvest days, or strive together to survive infinite waves of monsters, in endless mode till the last moment. So, that's it for today's video. If you found this helpful and interesting, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon to stay updated to more such videos. Also, mention in the comments, which strategy games are you waiting for in 2023? We will be back soon with more videos.